I was originally going to start off with an attempt at a witty joke, but can we just listen to this? God damn, that's better than I mean, that's freaking incredible. Unlike most people I've talked to that are fans of these cars, I've never watched the series in real life. And when I say in real life, I mean live on television. I've never seen a racing car in person. True story. I became a fan of Group C as a whole when I first got into Assetto Corsa, as the Dorito-powered MLG no-scope fueled Mazda 787B in specific had quickly become my favorite thing ever to drive. Today I'd like to take a closer look at these cars and what made them become the deafening Formula 1 rivaling beasts we know today. Group C came into existence when a young man named John proposed his lifelong dream of creating a sports car series to the FIA with cars that rivaled Formula 1 at the time. His number one priority? Sound. The cars had to sound good. I'm just fucking with you. Group C became a thing in 1982 with the regulations being proposed by the FIA. Mostly designed for the World Endurance Championship, the interesting part of these rules was that they were designed around the limits placed on fuel consumption instead of the usual limits on engine capacity. Basically, the FIA wanted something that would last a while instead of going hard and fast for like 3 minutes. That's what she said. Because of these rules, many manufacturers entered into the series, including Porsche, Nissan, Jaguar, Mercedes, Aston Martin, and Mazda, Porsche being the manufacturer to dominate most of the era. So many manufacturers entered this category because these new regulations made it possible for naturally aspirated engines to compete with forced induction engines, and competition naturally flourished. So many teams began to enter, in fact, the FIA introduced a junior Group C class, also known as Group C2, with the already established Group C becoming Group C1. C2 teams were mostly made up of privateer teams, and the majority of them bought and used Porsche 962 chassis. However, in Group C2, it limited cars to a minimum weight of 700 kilograms, 100 kilograms lighter than the C1 class, and their fuel capacity was capped at 55 liters instead of the 100 liters for C1s. One thing the two classes shared, however, was that the engines for each team's car had to come from manufacturers that had cars in Group A or Group B. I gotta be honest, I don't know what either of those groups are. But most of these teams use 3.5 liter BMW M1 engines or 3.3 liter Cosworth DFL engines, with each team changing or adding to their engines a little bit. Because of the amount of competition, the entire Group C series was rivaling Formula 1 in popularity and speed. In the 1988 24-hour Le Mans, the WM Peugeot P88 set a speed record of a staggering 405 kilometers an hour, roughly 251 miles an hour. Because of this, the FIA, led by a man you may know, Bernie Ecclestone, the killer of dreams, wanted to transform the C2 class into a formula series. This formula had made 3.5 liter engines mandatory, and it was the same engines also found in Formula 1 cars at the time. This led to the previously named C2 class, the Junior C class, to be much more expensive than its C1 counterpart, which led to almost all privateer teams pulling out faster than Johnny Sins, leaving only a handful of teams still competing in 1992, also causing the 1993 championship to be cancelled. While it is a massive shame that cost was the factor that led to the series' death, it's not all spilt milk and soggy taco shells. We're fortunate enough to have sim racing to sort of immortalize these machines to be enjoyed by all. I challenge you to think of a better way to honor a legendary racing series than flying towards turn 1 at Spa and ramming the entire field in front of you. It brings a tear to my eye. Wait. Were we actually about to end this video without talking about the elegant, striking, awe-inspiring, and slow Mazda 787B? You're damn right we're talking about this beast. You see, this car was very different to the other cars in its field.
Did I tell you it has a
Wankel
engine?
Yes, it ran a rotary engine, a 4-rotor, and this thing had so many goddamn triangles. They were everywhere. Triangles? Why are they everywhere? Triangles! Triangles in the engine! Triangles on the livery! Doritos! Are they Cool Ranch? Why does it sound like a weed whacker on crack, and why do I like that sound so much? Anyway, this C2 was extremely different to the rest of the field, as it had a 4-rotor Wankel engine. Yes, a rotary. And it won the 1991 24-hour of Le Mans. Fun fact, this car was the only car to have ever won Le Mans that wasn't using a traditional piston engine. And because of this rotary design, this thing was reliable. And when I say reliable, at the end of the 24-hour race that it won, Mazda claimed that the car was in such good condition it could run another full 24 hours. But the car didn't really have any good pace. The thing was like a porn star from the 80s. Reliability was its only strength. But it did win, and that's all that matters. You can't take that away from me. Honestly, the reason this car was so enjoyable for me to drive in Assetto Corsa when I first picked it up is because of the sound. I was atrocious at not spinning without massive amounts of traction control, and I used ABS. And although I did use a clutch, I only had paddle shifters. I still only have paddle shifters. But now that I have much more experience in not immediately dying in this car, the experience of fake driving is my favorite experience out of any car I've ever driven. At the end of the day, this thing will always put a massive smile on my face, and that means a lot to me. That was a bit sappy. Here's a fart joke.